I'm going to say a few words, and then I'm going to pass it on, and I'll give. We have a little bit of a program this morning, and so I'll describe that to you, and then we'll get going. I want to say, though, first of all, that we are holding this press conference this morning to tell the world that Durham is ready to welcome Afghan refugees to our city. We are expecting it, and we want it. We want to welcome these people who are fleeing very difficult circumstances. We want to welcome them to our city, and we want the world to know that Durham will welcome these new residents. We will embrace them, and we will love them. Today you will hear from me, County Commission Chair Brenda Howerton, my good friend and colleague, Commissioner Nida Alam, representatives of our wonderful refugee resettlement agencies, two employers of refugees here in Durham that I'll introduce in a little bit. And then we will wrap up with some words from Councilmember Caballero. And I want to thank Commissioner Alam and Councilmember Caballero for helping to spur us on to do this morning. – 125 years ago, my grandfather was 6 months old, and he and his fled with his mother and his siblings from the Russian Empire, fleeing the depredations of the Tsar and the pogroms that were going on in the Russian Empire across what is now Lithuania, overland, across the Baltic Sea, quarantining in Hamburg, across the Atlantic Ocean to settle here in America 125 years ago, and they were refugees. And we know that there are millions of Americans who have this similar story, who were refugees. And they were welcomed in this country. They were welcomed. Now we are witnessing in Afghanistan another terrible situation that you all are very well aware of. At the end of the American presence in Afghanistan, we know that there are thousands of refugees who are coming to this country, and we need to make them welcome. They're in need of our assistance, and we must take them in. So, let me be clear that in Durham, we will take them in. We will resettle them here. We will support them in every way we can. We will embrace them, and we will love them. In the words of the poet Emma Lazarus, which are emblazoned on the Statue of Liberty, which she called the mother of exiles, in the words of Emma Lazarus, "Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free, the wretched refuse of your teeming shores. Send these, the homeless tempest-tossed, to me. I lift my lamp beside the golden door." In Durham, we are that golden door, and we lift our lamp beside that golden door to welcome the Afghan refugees to our city. I'm now going to introduce my friend and colleague, County Commission Chair Brenda Howerton, for a few words, to be followed by Commissioner Nida Alam. Chair Howerton.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor. Good morning, everyone. I am Brenda Howerton, Chair of the Board of County Commissioners. And on behalf of the Board of County Commissioners and my colleagues that are here, we have Wendy Jacobs who's here, Commissioner Burns, Commissioner Lum, and Commissioner Carter. All the commissioners are here, and we are pleased to share a warm and enthusiastic welcome to all of our new Afghan immigrants who have landed safely to our community. Let me also thank the staff of Church World Service and World Relief Durham for your organization and support services you have established to begin to help our new neighbors and their resettlement. Please allow me to take a moment to remember our 13 brave U.S. soldiers who, along with hundreds of Afghan citizens, perished last week in a horrible and senseless suicide bombing attack. I would also like us to send sincere thoughts and prayers to our wounded service members and others who are currently recovering from their injuries. Let us not forget the personal toll this critical humanitarian effort has taken on individuals and families still awaiting rescue. But we have hope. We will do better. I am proud to know that Durham has a long and successful history of opening their doors to immigrants and refugees. This community has always been known for its open arms and welcoming spirit. Indeed, we have a reputation as a diverse and inclusive community. We have shown that as we have indeed welcomed thousands of immigrants and refugees families from many countries, including Ethiopia, Sudan, Democratic Republic of Congo, Palestine, all of these different countries. Let me be clear to our Afghan citizens who are already here. We sincerely thank you for your many years of laboring alongside our American troops and other Americans to act as guides, interpreters, translators, and more. We know that many of you literally risked your lives in helping us. Now it's time for us to show our sincere gratitude by providing you with a generous community full of citizens eager to help you and your families recover from the trauma you have experienced and begin to recover and thrive in this community. We want you to be safe. We want this to be a safe harbor for your families. We want to help you fulfill your hopes and dreams. Our goal is to help you build a successful new lives. As I close, let me say that we want you to know that this is your home, and we are so happy to have you be a part of our community. Be safe and be well. Thank you.
Great job.
Good morning, everyone, and assalamu alaikum, and welcome to our new neighbors. Your strength, resilience, and faith in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has brought us here, and we in Durham are blessed to be able to welcome you. I want to acknowledge the incredible sacrifices you have all made to be here. To the parents and adults, I admire your strength and the power of your love. We welcome you here after decades of trauma, struggle, and strife. And I know that leaving your home for the unknown is a terrifying leap of faith. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam himself was a refugee, having fled Mecca in order to escape persecution. Through his strength and resilience, we are all here today. And through your strength and resilience, your families will continue to grow in your new home of Durham. Verily, with hardship comes ease. And to the children, I deeply, deeply love you and promise to you that you will love your new home. Your neighbors will open their hearts to you, and our schools will nourish your minds. I make dua that you are rewarded for every hardship you have had to endure, and that your test of this life is filled with ease. I assure you, as your commissioner, that our elected bodies of Durham will do everything we can to support you and help you start your new lives here. You are our family now, and we will love you as such. To my fellow Durhamites, I ask you to open your hearts, homes, businesses, and community spaces to our new neighbors. Though we all come from different faith backgrounds, I leave you with one last saying of our Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Whoever grants respite to someone in difficulty or alleviates him, God will shade him on the day of resurrection when there is no shade but his. Thank you.
I want to thank our commissioners for those wonderful remarks. And now, before I introduce our next speaker today, I want to also recognize my city council colleagues who are here. Mayor Pro Tem Johnson, Councilmember Charlie Reese, Councilmember Deidreana Freeman, and Councilmember Javier Cabado. And I'm really glad to see all of them. I'm now going to introduce Koku Nayo. Many of you all know Nayo. He is a wonderful, wonderful advocate for our immigrant and refugee communities, and he will be speaking today on behalf of Church World Service, one of the great resettlement organizations that we have here in Durham. And he will also be introducing a couple of people to talk to you as well, who have some very direct experience to share. Nayo?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Good morning, everyone. My name is Koku Nayo. I am the refugee community organizer for Church World Service. I'm here today to talk to you a little bit about the work we do, and then I will introduce a couple of refugee leaders that work with me, and also we'll talk to you about what you can do for our Afghan community that are coming in Durham. As you know, Church World Service and World Relief are like the two main refugee resettlement agencies here in Durham. But we don't only work in Durham, we go beyond Durham, in Triangle, the Triad, and beyond. Since some of the refugees have been flown to Fort Lee in Virginia, as you know, many of our staffs have been deployed over there to help. And this has been the work that we do. We help new refugees resettle and thrive in their community. But we cannot do all this work without the government of Durham, the commissioners, the city council members. Yes, they all participate, and not only them, but also the whole community in Durham. And so far, we have been having a lot of emails, and please keep them coming. Those who are putting forward their houses and their apartment to help resettle refugees. This is what we do here in Durham. This is what North Carolina is. And since the inception of the refugee program in 1980, North Carolina was one of the first states to sign on the refugee program. This says a lot about who we are in North Carolina. So keep coming, keep offering your help. We need it. We cannot do this work without you. And we're still looking forward to for you to join us. And there are many ways you can join. Number one, you can advocate. Grab your phone. You can do that today. Call your senators. Ask them to increase the number of refugees to come. And as you know, the past few years, we have seen less refugees. And we all know that the refugee program is a life-saving program. And people's life depends on how many refugees can be resettled in the U.S. So call your senators. The presidential determination is just around the corner in September. And we know that our senators participate in that. So we want them to advocate for more refugees to come. Number two, you can volunteer. You can volunteer at our offices. You can volunteer as a family, a host family. You can also volunteer as a group and help set up apartments. And you know, once we do that, once you volunteer to set up apartment, you have a big stake in that refugee's family. You have, you prove that you are a more welcoming community than we have seen so far. We want you to do that, volunteer and donate. As you know, this work cannot be done without your donation. We've had it in the past. We're still looking forward to it. Please keep doing it. We are looking forward to that. And the third one is also keep an eye on our social media. The needs that the new refugees that are coming in will mostly need. We haven't have them already yet. So we'll be posting those on our social media. Keep an eye on it, and please participate. We need that. At the beginning, I said that I work with other refugee leaders, and today I'm here with Ahmed. He is an SIV from Afghanistan, and he's here to share a little bit about his story. And when he's done, my friend Adam Sada is also here. He's also a former refugee from Sudan. The reason why we have both of them here is to show you that a refugee is not only someone from Afghanistan. A refugee can come from anywhere. So they will share their story with you, and we'll add to that. Thank you.
Good morning. Thank you so much. I want to say first hello to everybody. I am one of the refugees who came to the United States in 2015 by SIV program. All right. As you know, the situation in Afghanistan right now is so bad, and the people who work for the U.S. Army, for U.S. government, as of translator, direct, indirect, and their life is at high risk right now. And you know, all Afghanistan is under control of the Taliban right now, and the people who work for U.S. government, for U.S. Army as of translator and as of contractor, they left behind right now 65,000 interpreters and contractors they left behind in Afghanistan. And you know, today is the last day of the flights from Kabul airport to the Qatar. Today was the last day of the U.S. Army in Afghanistan on the 31st. So we want from the U.S. government to do not forget your interpreter, your contractor who work with you, direct, indirect in Afghanistan. Their life is at high risk right now. And you know, the translator, it was like a light for the U.S. Army, for U.S. government. If you don't have light, you cannot go in a dark, you cannot find anything. That's all that I said, and I want once again from our president, President Joe Biden, to do not break their promise to help those people. They work in a hard situation, shoulder to shoulder with U.S. Army, with U.S. government. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Adam Sada. I am a former refugee from Darfur, Sudan. I was resettled by a local refugee resettlement organization about 7 years ago after fleeing genocide in Darfur, Sudan. Since I came here, you know, I worked, you know, in different companies, and right now I am a full-time college student at the University of North Carolina at Greensboro. I am here to just make a brief comment about what is going on around refugees around the world, especially in Afghanistan. We have seen what is going on in Afghanistan. It is very heartbreaking. People are just, you know, trying to leave their countries because they don't have, you know, money options, but they have only two options: either to stay there and suffer under new regime over there, or to flee to uncertain future. So they have chosen the the second option, and that is to escape their countries. And it is very heartbreaking. You know, we have the same common issues. Like, I'm a refugee from Darfur and I'm victim of genocide, and those people are just also trying to plead the problem. So since I came here in Durham, so it is, you know, great opportunity for me and to be socialized with Durham community, to call Durham is my second home, and it is the home is the where, you know, like we can to be resettled and to be connected with our new community. So I'm very glad to be here with you. Thank you very much.
Thank you all so much. In addition to Church World Service, we have another wonderful resettlement organization here in Durham, and that's World Relief Durham. And I'm going to now introduce Adam Clarke, who's going to say some words about their work. Adam?
Thank you, Mayor Schul and Chair Howerton. We appreciate all the county and city leaders taking the time to make this possible. Appreciate everyone from the press giving this issue the attention that it deserves. One thing we're really proud of at World Relief and just in general in Durham is that we have things like this, because not every community gives these issues this attention, and not every community has the privilege of meeting and welcoming refugees. It really is a privilege. It enriches our community, and if you have a chance to hear the stories of folks who come over from Afghanistan and other nations represented here today, I think you'll join me in my excitement and also the sense of honor that we have just to be able to be a community that welcomes people to safety. And our hearts are really hurting now. We lift our prayers and our thoughts to everyone in Afghanistan, particularly those who have helped the U.S. military who are coming through the SIV program that we're going to see a little more of here soon. But in general, our partners at CWS and World Relief, we provide a lot of services to folks coming through the refugee program. We're looking forward to offering as many services as possible to support those coming out of Afghanistan right now. For those unfamiliar, a refugee who comes here and is served by one of our programs receives help with housing, employment, health care. We register children in schools. We're addressing food needs, immigration legal needs, just a gamut of support services at both agencies to make sure that when people come here, they're able to start a successful new life, that they're able to flourish, and that we're not just providing basic needs, but we're also mobilizing a community of welcome to recognize the assets that these individuals bring to us and make our community stronger thereby. So just thank everybody for being here today. We know there are a lot of questions coming to us right now about how many folks will be here, how many Afghans will we be welcoming as a community. We can try to answer some of those questions a little later today, but I think the thing I want to highlight the most is just the overwhelming goodwill that has been coming from our community. We've never had so many phone calls before. We've never had so many people volunteer, sign up to volunteer. We've never had so many Amazon trucks come to our office and really fill our entire lobby with hundreds of packages of kitchen supplies, of bed frames, of all the materials needed to set up homes for some of the folks that we'll be welcoming coming out of the situation that you're seeing in Afghanistan now. So it's just a tremendous community to be a part of, and we're proud that Durham and the Triangle understand the importance of this issue and are really responding in material ways, very tangible ways, ready to provide for the community. So thank you for your time today, and we at World Relief and CWS have been speaking a little bit about how many folks will come, because that's a very common question that we're getting. I'll go ahead and say that because of a lot of uncertainties at the federal level, just about how long people will be processed overseas. Once they're being done, how long will they be being processed at some of the military bases where we hear that many folks are being brought. Because of the uncertainty about that, no one can really predict on the local level exactly how many folks will be coming and finding safety here in Durham. But we expect 100 or more in the coming months to be served here in our community. We hope many more will be be able to join our community. And I would ask your patience as we also are being patient with new information coming out of that situation every day from our federal partners as we try to make sure that we are prepared as a community. But just the overwhelming amount of material support, financial support, and volunteers that have been coming out of the Triangle has just been incredibly encouraging, and I think we will be prepared however many come, thanks to you all. So thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Adam. You've heard from our refugee resettlement agencies and a couple of our refugee residents in Durham. Now we're going to hear from two other very important people who do an incredibly important job for refugees, and that is they provide employment and in one case other services as well. So I'm going to begin by introducing Nate Anderson from Anderson Paints, and he is going to talk to you about the work that they do with refugees, and we're so grateful to have you here, Nate.
Thank you, Mayor Schul. My name is Nate Anderson, and I'm the owner of Anderson Painting and Power Washing. We do work here in Durham, and we employ refugees. We've been doing this now for about 16 years. I was a high school science teacher before that and a track coach, and now I teach and coach in a bit of a different way. We actively seek out, train, and employ refugees in the entire Triangle area. Knowing that providing a full-time, consistent job is vital to an individual's long-term success and independence, we work closely with the local refugee resettlement organizations like Church World Service, World Relief Durham, USCRI is another one, and Lutheran Services of the Carolinas as well. A few ways we provide a safe and accepting work environment to refugees. On-the-job skill training is important to us. We also try to assign each new crew member with a crew leader that speaks their language. We currently have people speaking Arabic, Farsi, French, Swahili, Dari, Burmese, and Spanish, just to name a few. We offer a rideshare program, weekly leadership training, and a clear path for career advancement. While this sounds great, we do want to make it clear it's not easy. There's misunderstandings, a lot of miscommunication. It requires patience and perseverance. But like anything in life or any calling, doing the right thing isn't usually the easiest thing. I'd encourage everyone to figure out how they can help refugees in our community. Maybe it's not a job, but a smile, a meal, a conversation. Don't be afraid to get to know people that are different from you. All people, refugees, your neighbor across the street, and yourself just want to be known, loved, and accepted. Refugees have the same aspirations you and I do. They want to provide for their families, take pride in their work, have the opportunity to attend school and get a good education, and have the freedom to dream and achieve. Thank you. I look forward to seeing you out at the community events with refugees. Thank you.
Nate, thank you so much for the work you're doing and for those beautiful words. It's really wonderful. Thank you so much. And now I'm going to introduce Luis Pasteur. Luis is the CEO of the Latino Community Credit Union, headquartered right over there. They do wonderful, wonderful things in Durham. He's going to tell you about one aspect of those wonderful things that you might not know. So, Luis.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. Buenos dias. I had the privilege for the last 21 years to be the presidency of Latino Community Credit Union. We began our journey right there in Main Street 21 years ago because the system was not ready for us. The financial system didn't know how to welcome, how to serve immigrants at the time. So we, as immigrants, we create our own solution. And since then, we are serving more than 100,000 individuals in all North Carolina and actually all around the United States. We employ refugees, immigrants in every single status of integration, of understanding how the system may work, from dreamers to green card holders, TPS. naturalized citizens or U.S.-born citizens. We have members from 136 countries of the world. We already have members from Afghanistan. So we want to tell our brothers and sisters from Afghanistan that we're ready for you guys. We've been waiting for you guys. The system is ready, and when the system doesn't work for us, all we have to do is to change it. It's our call to keep making this community, this society, more welcoming and more ready for everybody, because everybody has a dream, and we want to here to help you with your dreams. So welcome.
Thank you so much, Luis. And finally, we're going to ask Councilmember Javier Cabado to wrap this up, and then we will take your questions and look forward to them. Councilmember?
Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for being here. I want to first extend gratitude and thanks to Mayor Schul, Commissioner Chair Howerton, Commissioner Alam for speaking, and for our incredible community advocates for everything they shared with us. Some of the things that I heard that I just want to reiterate: how can you help? You can donate. Church World Service and World Relief Durham are the two local resettlement organizations, and you can reach out to your congresspeople and senators. In this case, Congressman Price would be a great person to reach out to ensure that our Afghan brothers and sisters can come here safely. And everything that was said this morning is an example of the kind of community and city that we strive to be. Yeah, I'm old school, I still write it down, sorry. Mayor Schul often talks about Durham being a city for all. My thoughts have continually gone back to what is unfolding in Afghanistan right now, and I think many of us have watched in angst and sadness. I also cannot help but think about my own family's journey to this country. While we fled on an airplane as well, it was not what our new Afghan neighbors have experienced. We were able to say our goodbyes, to make peace, however conflicted with the decision to leave. And even with that, I know how hard it was, especially for my mother. It was hard to adjust and adapt. What I want to tell our new Afghan Durhamites is we as a city cannot take that pain from you. However, we may want to. But we can make your landing and your journey a lot easier. Today is our first step, but we will walk with you and embrace you. I often listen to music when my thoughts and feelings are clouded with sadness and worry, and Mercedes Sosa is someone I always go back to, an Argentinian folk singer long adored in South America. And one of my favorite songs by her is Solo le pido a Dios. I only ask of God. And one of the lines in that song says, I only ask of God that I not be indifferent to injustice. In Durham, we have a long history of not being indifferent to injustice. And I know we will all lean into that value. And we will welcome our newest community members. A nuestros vecinos nuevos, bienvenidos a Durham. Que Dios les bendiga. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Council Member. And thank you all for hanging out here in the heat with us. I'm sorry the sun has moved and more of you all are in the sun. I apologize. But thanks for hanging with us. And now, questions.
Yes.
Sarah?
And I'm not sure who best to address
Yeah.
this, but I know Adam mentioned that you can't give an exact number of how many refugees you're expecting, but I'm wondering if there are any already here, and if so, how many, or when you may be expecting the first ones to arrive.
Adam, why don't you come up here and take that? Or, yeah.
Yeah, I can say to a couple of your questions there. Our community has been receiving Afghans for years through the Special Immigrant Visa Program. I think it just hasn't received a lot of attention. But since I think 2009 was when the Afghan Allies Protection Act kind of brought that into as an option for these folks to come to safety. And so for years, both agencies here in Durham have been welcoming families who have helped the U.S. government or military overseas in much smaller numbers or at a slower rate. But there is an existing Afghan community here as a result of that and other migration. Again, we will keep you all updated as we get more federal updates and as we understand how quickly people will be moving off of bases or how long they will stay there. But we have already received families from Fort Lee and other areas that are coming here. One of the things that is a little challenging about giving an answer is that special immigrant visa holding Afghans can choose where they go. There's a little more, there's a lot less ability of ours to predict ahead of time which agency will serve them, but that's one of the factors at play. But again, in talking with Ellen Andrews, my colleague and counterpart at CWS, and we at World Relief, we think 100 or more will be coming in the coming months. But again, it really depends how long folks will be, in Germany and Qatar and Bahrain, let alone the bases. Still a lot of unanswered questions there, but we look forward to welcoming more.
Thank you very much, Adam. Other questions? I can't believe we were that thorough.
Well, I'll be Debbie Downer. Look, we've got a lot of citizens already in Durham struggling to find affordable housing. What makes you think you're confident that we can migrate or bring these folks into our community as well as meeting those needs as well?
Yeah, thank you. Well, that's a good question. It's an important question. Thanks for asking, and I'll take that one. Yeah, there's no question that housing affordability throughout the Triangle, and especially right here in Durham, is a tremendously difficult issue, and that is persistent. We have people moving here with higher incomes than on average than the people that live here. They're competing successfully for housing, and it's driving the cost of housing up. But that doesn't mean that we can shirk our humanitarian duties. If we have, as Adam predicted, more than 100 Afghan refugees coming here to Durham, we can certainly absorb them and house them affordably. I have no question of that. It's going to take a lot of community effort, as you heard described by Nayo, by Adam, by Nate, by Luis. It's going to take a whole community effort to give these folks what they need, but I know that we can do it. I have absolutely 100% confidence that we can successfully house and welcome the Afghan refugees, and we have the community will.
Is there anything that the city's doing to communicate with the federal agencies to make sure that there's any funding that could come to help you guys in doing that as well?
Well, I think that would come through the resettlement agencies, and they might be able to speak better to that. Why don't I ask them to do so? I will say, and one thing I should have mentioned earlier, is that the city and county are in the process now of hiring our first refugee coordinator. And I should have mentioned that earlier. And that's going to be a very important position. And I'm really pleased that we are combining to do that. I want to call out Manager Hager, who's hiding in the back here, County Manager Claudia Hager, who I'm glad is here with us. But we appreciate our city and county management for working together on this. And I'll ask anybody from one of the refugee agencies want to talk about the potential funding that could come our way through the refugee services, either Adam or Ellen or Nayo, any of you all? Go ahead, Ellen. This is Ellen Andrews. She's the Director of Church World Service.
Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for being here today. And I can really quickly address the question of funding. Both CWS and World Relief receive funding through the federal government, different federal government agencies to help resettle refugees, to get them on their feet here, pay for housing. The efforts to welcome Afghan refugees are also going to be bolstered by a number of private entities, not least of which is Airbnb, who will be providing a substantial amount of support for housing. So I hope that answers that question, and happy to take any follow-ups if there are any.
As a city or county government, or this is a bad question, I apologize, or even among private entities, has there been any hostility to receiving the refugees here in Durham?
I'll ask someone from our refugee resettlement agencies to answer, but I have not heard any myself. I've heard lots of messages of welcome, but I haven't heard any hostility, and I hope it stays that way. But I'll ask anybody from the refugee agencies want to comment on that as well? Adam?
Sure. Yeah. We have in the past received a few negative comments on websites or our Facebook, but really I could almost count on one hand the number of times that I've had a significant detracting voice really come to us with hostility. I think this is the term you used. overall, we have received an overwhelming support of goodwill. Hundreds and hundreds of calls. I think actually it's over 1,000 now of calls just about Afghanistan in the last couple of weeks that we've received. So really the answer is no. I'm sure that there are folks in our community who have a lot of questions about housing, about costs and things like that. We want to make sure that we provide good information so that people's fears or questions can be allayed and they can understand that there's a lot of provision and support here for folks that are coming. But we're really fortunate to be in a community where that's just not something that we experience on a regular basis, and we're really getting just positive support from both sides of the aisle and all kinds of sectors of our community that don't even usually express support. So we've been really encouraged by that. Thanks.
To your question very quickly, of course, there might be some hesitancy, but I will urge anyone, the community, reach out, talk to your neighbor, because we don't know, sometimes when you don't know someone, you're a little bit apprehensive, understandable. But once you talk to that person, you figure out that that person is a parent as you. Parents that care about their families, and that is the reason why they're taking their family out of the harm's way. You will do the same thing, but get the time to talk to them, get the time to know them. Then we will smooth all this hesitancy, fear, and we'll be building a much more welcoming community if we just reach out. Thank you.
Mayor, what else can you add about that? Is it going to be, I know that Charlotte has an office like that. The city of Charlotte has an office of refugee and immigrant services.
Yeah.
Is that kind of what you guys are modeling it after? It's going to be an office, a department? Is it just going to be one person?
Well, it'll be one person working closely with these agencies. Yeah, it'll be an office. It'll actually be in city government, but funded jointly by the city and the county. And that office will work in our neighborhood improvement services, which does a lot of outreach. They'll be working with we have a lot of people in the city of Durham government who work on outreach. This person will be working with them, but also really closely with these wonderful resettlement agencies.
Is there a timeline for when that position might be?
The timeline is very soon. They're interviewing right now. Thank you. I hear from my colleagues that we're interviewing right now. Yeah, so very soon. I'm going to say that's the last question unless anybody has something pressing. I mean, there are a lot of folks here that you can, of course, talk to individually, but I just want to express my gratitude to you all for being here and for helping us get this message of welcome out. Thank you so much, and thank you to everybody that spoke today and was here. Thank you.